Did you just get a new laptop or a new monitor for your computer setup? In today's video we are going to go through how to test your new laptop or monitor to make sure that it's a worthy panel that you can keep for many years to come. I'm W2Best, I make in-depth gear reviews and tutorials, and if you like this video after watching it, I would be super happy if you wanted to put a like on the video and maybe also subscribe to this channel. That gives me a ton of motivation to bring out new content moving forward. If you want to communicate with me, I'm usually very active and quick to reply in the comment section below, and you can also see me at Instagram where I'm at W2Best. Over the past few years, I've been getting a lot of different laptops and monitors, both for desk setups but also mobile monitors. And I think it's really important to make sure to check your monitor and see that the one that you have received is actually a good one, so that you want to keep it for a long time. The first thing I always make sure to check is the amount of backlight bleed. If you are getting an IPS monitor, you will most likely have some backlight bleed, as almost all IPS monitors has a little bit of it. However, making sure that you don't have as much that you will be disturbed by it on a regular basis is the key here. If you don't know what backlight bleed is, you can see an example right here. And it is that light part of the screen that you can see when you turn the monitor black and also maybe move it into a darker room. To check this, here is a completely black screen. And now when you have this black screen on, if you are in a regularly lit room and you can see the lighter part in top or bottom or the sides of the monitor, I would say that that's a bit of cause for concern. If you don't see anything right now, I would say that that's pretty okay. But to make sure you're not going to get disturbed by it, I would say bring the laptop now with this dark screen into a dark room, maybe a room without windows, and turn the brightness up a lot and see how much backlight bleed you can see. This is the way to check backlight bleed under the most extreme circumstances. But remember that just because you have some backlight bleed in those circumstances, it doesn't mean that you will get disturbed by it on a daily basis. You're more likely to use your laptop in something like this settings with black borders in the bottom and in the top. And then if you can see some backlight bleed when you have a video playing like this, then you would actually have more of a case for being disturbed with the monitor and the backlight bleed. So those two examples I find interesting to check out. The next thing you want to check out is if you have any IPS glow in the monitor. This is actually very similar to backlight bleed, except that IPS glow doesn't only show up in the corners of the monitors. So usually backlight bleed is either top, bottom, left or right side, but the IPS glow could show up in any part of your monitor. You will find this by looking at the screen in a similar manner, either with a black screen, like the one I put up now, and then turning the brightness up a bit and see if you have like yellow tints across the monitor somewhere. Sometimes when the IPS glow is really bad, you can also see it when you're on a high brightness level and a white background color. So now when I put on a white background color, make sure that there are no yellow or light brown parts on the screen when you have this light background. If you want to, you can also bring it into a darker room to make sure that you get as much contrast as possible between the environment and the screen, and see if you can see any IPS glow in the screen. The third error that you want to look out for is if there are any dead pixels in the screen. This might sound ridiculous, why would there be dead pixels in a completely new screen? But it's actually really common that a new screen would come delivered with 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 dead pixels. And since one dead pixel is a little bit hard to spot at regular use, you really want to check this out as soon as you have opened your laptop or monitor. I once bought a Dell XPS 15 that came with 5 dead pixels out of the box. And I was super happy that I had made this check so that I could send it back and get my money back from that one. The way you would check for dead pixels is to use these single colored backgrounds that I'm putting up on the screen now. Here you have one that is white, And then you want to look for any dark pixels in the screen right now. If you see something on the screen now that is not white, you want to pause the video there and make sure that it's not a piece of dust or something that is on the physical screen. But if it is in the actual monitor, you have probably got a dead pixel and you really don't want to use a laptop or monitor with a dead pixel in it. Switching it over to a red background like this, you can get a different view and see if there's any pixels that are not the red color that this background image is right now. And last but not least, switching over to this green background image, have a look and see if there are any pixels that are not green currently. If you see any dead pixels, make sure to just pack up the laptop or screen right away and return it to where you bought it and get a new unit, because you don't want to keep on using this one. And you want to make sure to do this as quickly as possible before they can claim that this wasn't there from the beginning, that it was something that happened due to your use. The next thing you want to check out is the max and minimum brightness levels. And since all monitors are a bit different with this, what settings and what max brightness you have available, how does the laptop perform when I put it up to maximum brightness? And this is mostly something that you want to use if you are going to use the laptop outside or in very bright conditions. So make sure to be in a bright condition, or even outside in direct sunlight is the preferable option here. And then turn the brightness up to maximum and see if it works. So if your use case will actually be applicable here in the direct sunlight. The other way around, when you want minimum brightness, is usually when you're working in like a really dark room, or when you watch a movie before you're gonna go to bed, and you don't want the eyes to be as strained as they get from when you have a lot of background light. So go to a darker room and then turn down the brightness to minimum and see if you think this is low brightness enough. Because sometimes, funnily enough, the brightness level can be high enough in the high settings, but not low enough in the low settings. And this is something I always want to check out in the beginning. Last but not least, you want to make sure that the monitor has colors that work for what you are going to use it with. This is a little bit hard to do when you don't have a fancy color measuring device. And those are pretty expensive, so it's not something that anyone would have lying around at home. If you read the reviews on notebookcheck.net, you will have plenty of information available, both on the brightness levels and the color levels of the monitor. The main thing I would do after checking these things out are making sure that you feel comfortable with the amount of colors and the kind of colors you can see in the monitor, and probably comparing it to some other unit that you know you like working with. So for example, if you have bought a monitor to place on your desk, make sure to compare it to your laptop monitor and see how well they match. If you will be working with multiple desktop setups, so one in the laptop and one on the other screen, then you really want to make sure that you are comfortable moving pictures or moving video material between the different screens. If you are not happy with the color reproduction of your monitor, maybe it's just not the right one for you, and maybe you want to go for a different monitor or a different laptop. Color reproduction is so different from monitor to monitor, but it's really important to get it right so you get something that you are comfortable with to use for many years from when you get it. If you are happy with all of these things, I would say that your laptop or monitor qualified to make it into an extended testing period. So that is when you have about 2 weeks to use it for all your different use cases and see if it holds up for what you're going to use it for, or if you want to return it to the manufacturer or retailer and check out something else. Usually there are pretty good return policies, and make sure to make use of that. You know, just check out everything that you can check out during those 2 weeks. And if there is something you really don't like, don't hesitate to try something else. That is the right you have as a consumer. And given how many lower quality units that are shipped out to consumers, you should really make use of your rights as a consumer. If you have any other questions around checking your monitor or laptop when you receive it, please ask them in the comments below and I will get back to you as soon as possible. And I will make a bit more similar content to this, covering the different aspects of checking out your new electronics when you buy them, because I think it's a very important topic that we need to have openly discussed and make our good decisions around. I'm W2Best, I make in-depth gear reviews and tutorials, and I will see you in the next video. Have a nice day, bye bye!